This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today as we get set up to discuss our first free agent signing of the morning confirmed. Finally, as we are just about 22 minutes into signing season here in the NHL. And well, guess what? It is not someone we had on any board. It's not someone we talked about yesterday. It's not anyone we've actually had any discussions about. Instead, it's Lane Pederson, formerly of the Vancouver Canucks and Columbus Blue Jackets last year. We'll have details on that in a matter of moments, friends, but let me cue up my graphic here. If you're new to the channel, I want you to consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. All throughout the day, we'll be figuring out who the new Edmonton Oilers are and talking all about them. So Lane Pederson, probably not a name that's going to jump off the page at you, not a name that you're going to get really excited about, but a name that kind of fits the billing of what we were talking about last night if you tuned in, and of course what we've been talking about for the past 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now in terms of what the Edmonton Oilers need to do with free agent frenzy. While we still wait official word on Connor Brown, I've got people with lots of connections obviously texting me stuff today, so we should be staying up to date. Obviously, Twitter is down today, which is the primary news source on a day like today for the insiders across the NHL. So we're having a struggle squad moment, but we'll survive and we'll get it done. So we're waiting on Connor Brown. You've got Frank Saravelli saying, no, it's not happening. You've got Kevin Weeks saying it's done. So we will take a moment here to appreciate Ken Holland signing a right-hand shot centerman in Lane Pederson. So let's quickly take a look at his stats. Like I said, these are stats that are not going to jump off the board at you. These are not stats that are going to change things dynamically for the Edmonton Oilers, but the 25-year-old center, Lane Pederson, has been playing with teams in the NHL since 2021 when he played with the Arizona Coyotes, had 3 points in 15 games, then played with San Jose Sharks in 21-22, had 2 points in 29 games. Remind you though, that San Jose team, the two San Jose teams over the past 2 years haven't been that great. And then he split time between the Canucks and the Columbus Blue Jackets, putting up 3 points apiece in 11 and 16 games respectively. So, right, you look at this here, a guy who career-wise over 71 games in the NHL has put up 0.15 points per game. So now we get into, I'll leave this graphic up for you, and we get into the whole discussion about what did we sign him for, what kind of deal is it, what's going on there for the Edmonton Oilers. Let me open up my notifications tab here, and let's quickly go over here and get this going, because it is Lane Pederson who has joined the Oilers. Believe it's a 2-year deal at $775. That coming from Frank Saravelli and then being put on the ticker on Sportsnet's broadcast. So I assume we are good to go with those figures. 2 years at $775. So again, just as we kind of confirm things here for you, let me just take a look at my computer once again, is just to kind of backtrack here, if I can go back on there. Lane Pederson, a 6'0", 190-ish pound right-hand shot centerman. It's a one-way deal for Lane Pederson, so you got to keep that in mind as well. For Lane Pederson, it's one of those things where you get exactly a guy who fits your profile you're looking for, right? A depth centerman, right-hand shot, has put up points in the NHL, not necessarily a ton, not necessarily life-changing amounts through almost a full career season, but still a guy who is going to be valuable to this team, especially given how Jay Woodcroft chooses to deploy the fourth-line center role. So without getting Nick Bjugstad back, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, you've got Lane Pederson here, who is a fantastic little option for you as a maybe a little bit of an increase on a guy like Brad Malone, right? You're talking about that. And at secondary too, where you got to keep in mind every time the Oilers sign a guy at $775 today, tomorrow, next week, is the fact that all these guys can go to the minors and be buried. Whether they're claimed on waivers or not on the way down, that's a whole nother story. But these guys do not impact your cap hit once they are in Bakersfield. So at the current moment, you can just kind of sit back and enjoy having these guys around. And it looks like we are going to go to Elliot Friedman here, who is going to give us another breaking story, but it doesn't look like anything there. Instead, it's going to be a flash forward to Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens. So again, just to break down the stats here, right? Lane Pederson is a guy who has career-wise scored 4 goals, 7 assists, and 11 points. And just as I was refreshing my feed there a little bit as well, going through my messages, Drake Caggiula is also rumored to be coming back to the Edmonton Oilers. Details are coming up, so stay tuned for that video as well. But I really like this move for the Oilers, okay? Like, I guess to not get excited about a move like this, but to also get excited about a move like this is kind of the fine line, because this is kind of one of those perfect moves for the Oilers where it doesn't hurt you at all. It is just a perfect kind of fit. The profile's been matched, right? Right-hand shot, centerman, 6'0", not like 5'10", 5'9", right? A bigger guy, kind of medium-sized in the NHL. A guy who doesn't need to play a ton of minutes. You look here, his career-wise is about 11 minutes and 10 seconds per game. So again, a guy who's going to be fine if Jay Woodcroft shortchanges them twice a week. Shortchange in terms of like ice time, not shortchange in terms of getting them double shifting. But that's kind of where I see this move. It is just going to be a perfect little fit, and again, kind of increases the camp competition. But you go back to a tweet that was available this morning before Twitter went down, is there was a tweet out there saying, look, the Oilers also need to look for, I think it was Bob Stauffer, look for a right-hand center for the top line in Bakersfield. So Lane Pederson, should he not make the team out of camp and is able to go down to Bakersfield before waivers come in or clear waivers, whatever the case might be, he would be that perfect fit right there. We could pull up his stats in the AHL, I am sure, if that's available to us. I'm not sure where it would be, but let me get this going, stats, and let's see if we can find some hockey DB or something here for Lane Pederson, and then we can just go from there. We'll just hockey DB it because it'll be really simple. So a guy who with, right here, with the Abbotsford Canucks in 22-23 had 24 points in 18 games played. Chicago Wolves went 4 games played, no points, but a guy who career-wise has been about a point per game scorer over the past few seasons at the AHL level. So we don't mind that. We, again, right, if you're looking to add depth to your roster, he's 25, so a perfect kind of fit between both Bakersfield and Edmonton. The only thing is, to wrap this all up with a pretty bow, it is a 1-year deal, $775, 2-year contract. So keep that in mind. It's not like we can just set him down at any point and avoid waivers, because I believe that is how he ended up in Columbus at the end of the year, is the Canucks put him on waivers and the Columbus Blue Jackets claimed him there. But we'll keep our eyes peeled, because obviously a new member of the Edmonton Oilers. We're still waiting word on Drake Caggiula and, of course, Connor Brown. We'll stay tuned. But, friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. For now, that's all I've got. We'll be right back with more, I'm sure. I am up on out of here.